Okay, so today we really live with unprecedented challenges, particularly in relationship to the time we live in, which is the Anthropocene. We have environmental crisis in climate change, but also in general environmental degradation that really hasn't been seen before. And in the midst of this, which is really showing us that we need to develop ways that we can be more awake and connected actually with the kind of particularities of the regions that we live in and on the planet that we share. We're in the middle of a revolution, a technological revolution, which sees us actually using computer phones and computers 8 to 10 hours a day. And it's interesting, these two things work against one another, because research shows that spending our time actually in virtual environments and semi-virtual environments certainly is not making us more connected to the peculiarities and the particularities of the natural regions that we're living in, not to speak of the historical and social and political peculiarities of the region that we're living in. Okay, so that's a difficult situation we find ourselves in. And at the same time, we have in the United States two primary forms of individualism that we really kind of use to inspire and inform ourselves. One of them is connected to a utilitarian orientation, something that's really connected with our scientific culture and practice, particularly the natural sciences, but all the sciences in general, where we take a rather distant stance to the world and we look for patterns, and in such a way that it kind of inspires in us a feeling that we can, when we discover these patterns, manipulate and use the world as we see fit for our own purposes. Now, this view on the greater world has one quality, but we have a very different culture when it comes to how we look at one another as people and how we look at ourselves. We have, for instance, a very strong tendency in encouraging, in the United States, individualism, authenticity, creativity, expressiveness. We really appreciate the unique quality of people. This is kind of some of our cultural values. And that can lead to kind of celebration of individuality. Now, one major challenge is how can we bring this appreciation for individuality and particularity from the human experience more into the natural sciences? And how can we therefore enliven and enrich our experience actually of our natural habitats? In this sculpture, we have actually a kind of illustration of that. We have a figure down here which is kind of contorted and cramped and controlled up there, a ballooning figure, kind of like an egotist. This figure appears again here, and that figure there, and here we have aesthetic individuality.